Technology, which to use. First off, if somebody is HIPAA compliant, they will tell you. They paid a lot of money to get there, so they're going to advertise it. This is a picture that I took in the ATA exhibit hall about 15 years ago. So, hasn't changed. If they're HIPAA compliant, they'll tell you. If you can't see it on their website, don't bother asking. They would make it very visible for you. Now, we did a poll. Thank you all for responding. And what we see is that 77% do clinical work by phone. This is opposed to administrative work, right? This is clinical work by phone. That's a lot of people for an audience. Now, how many of you have been trained in telephone-based work? So think about it. If you're doing telephone work, get some protocols. What do? You go to the website, look up some articles, look for telephone in the title, telephone and obesity, telephone, and you go to Google Scholar as well. Y'all know about Google Scholar? It's a whole other Google website. You just type in Google Scholar, and it'll plug you straight into the science literature. All different types of scientific areas, worldwide. So you just run it like a regular search. We've housed over 4,000 specifically for telehealth, but who knows? There's new stuff out there all the time. Text messaging. Almost 40% do text messaging. Once again, get your protocols. Email. Microsoft Office. 22% use Microsoft Office. It's really good. Skype, 5.2%. Hopefully you know a little better about that now. So you see how the list goes down here. Most folks are doing a lot of work without the knowledge that might be required of you. Let's talk about the preferences that you have. Generally, there's 5 categories: your telephone, your video, email, text, and apps. Now, there are some of these newer platforms with machine learning, artificial intelligence. We can expect that all of this will converge. When I first started in the internet, it was known as information superhighway, and we had a lane for groups. We had a lane for email. We had a lane for the web. And then all of a sudden, the websites started having a link to send email to each other through the website, through the browser lane. And now all of that is kind of in one. So a website will give you everything, including play video for you, right? We're going to see that with this technology too. So the small companies that might just do text messaging now are in play to be purchased by larger systems that want to offer a package. What are examples of some of the packages? Skype for Business. A lot of the Microsoft Office suite can be involved as well. So these are very, very large enterprises that will include a whole bunch of services. So you don't have to know every little detail about all of that. You get a BAA, you're good to go. And whatever you choose to do clinically, you just have to be up on the clinical issues. So your job, if you choose to do this, is to match the client or the patient's need, their preference, and their ability for handling technology to your own preferences and abilities, and move forward from there. You ought to be able to describe the pros and cons if you choose something. You know, okay, I'm going to use this, but only in this condition. So in your notes, I'm going to be specific about it. I'm going to be available, but only during these hours. And you can help your people understand, like for apps, you know, there are native apps, right? A native app stays on the phone. That content doesn't go anywhere. Then there are apps that will communicate with you. Which one needs to be compliant with telehealth rules? The ones that communicate with you. If I give my client an app that sends me information, now PHI, protected health information, is coming across electronic channel to me, that's telehealth, right? That's bound by HIPAA. HIPAA is only for electronic transmission. So I've got to be compliant with all the HIPAA stuff and all the telehealth laws. When Georgia passed their ruling about all the clinicians needing to get 6 hours of training and supervisors an additional 3, I wrote to them. And I said, what about apps? They were silent about apps. What about if I prescribe an app to somebody that is in California, and that person goes to Nebraska to be with mom, and they're communicating with me, do I have to be compliant with all your telehealth rules? What do you think they said? Yeah, you have to be. Many of us don't think about that. Or if that information goes somewhere else, goes from the app to a website, that's getting transmitted, right? Doesn't matter who it's getting transmitted to, it's getting transmitted off of the phone. So if you go to the website to get the information, well, that's safer, because at least you can protect it there on that website. But you know, it gets complicated. So my suggestion to you, once again, is don't overly complicate things. Don't take on 5 different technologies. Start with something very basic. Go with a larger company that offers multiple things that you can move into over time if you want them. You've got to be able to troubleshoot problems. There are breakdowns. You have to know how to handle that on your own, because otherwise the session has to end. You have to have a backup plan. Use a telephone is often the backup plan. Consult with remote staff, remote IT staff. A lot of the companies do have an IT person available during regular hours. Sunday night at 9 p.m. is not likely to get an IT person available, but in regular business hours, you'll get some IT folks to help you out if you get stuck. If you throw your phone in the trash can, what do? You have to report it to the patient and to applicable authorities as well. And that applicable authority is the Office for Civil Rights. If you throw your phone in the trash can, there's no protected health information on it, then that's just too bad. One of the safe harbors on that is if you have a password on your phone, then you have done what a prudent professional would do, and you don't have to report it. At least that's my understanding of it. So if you don't have a password, now you've got to notify everybody and let the authorities know. And then do your risk assessment. Do that with every device. And you'll see it's kind of a thorny thing, so you don't want to do it with 5 devices. Enter in all those model numbers and everything. And then educate your client about the specific technology that you're trying to give them. So these are your technical responsibilities, because basically you're saying to somebody, hey, let's go meet down by the waterfront. Okay, because some people do this in vivo treatment, right? Or let's go meet down at the airport and we'll deal with your fear of flying, okay? If that person gets in trouble there, let's say there's a shooting down at the airport, you're the one that's deviated from the standard of having them come in your office. You're likely to be held liable for that. That's America today. So you think about it. If you want to use technology, make sure you cover that base with the education.